mainstream sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, it's Friday. It's a football Friday, baby. Football Friday. We got football Saturday night. We got college football coming up soon. Within, 8 days? I think we got a college football game. Come on now. The Bucs are going to play the Jets. Sans Aaron Rodgers. They'll be doing some ayahuasca, I think. Some of that stuff. But we're going to preview the Bucs-Jets game coming up with Dan Lucas from News Channel 8, who will be broadcasting the game on Saturday night, which I'm very, very much looking forward to. Also looking forward to the Voodoo Chef Bash, Summer Bash, coming up Saturday, by the way, which I get to judge all the best hamburgers, best cheeseburgers in Tampa Bay. I know you're jealous, Nick Geddes from On3.com. Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. Doing well. You mentioned we're so close to football. Let the record be shown.
Okay.
Football season does not begin officially until 13 days.
Okay.
13 days, because that's when my UCF Knights take the field. My mighty UCF Knights. Kent State.
Kent State.
Kent State.
The venerable Kent State. Don't tell me. Kent State. Oh, they tried to be Kent for a while because they were trying to get away from the scars of the 60s shooting. Kent State, I want to say, aren't they the Green Knights or something like that?
I
think they actually used to have an Indian name of some sort, and then they had to change it. So
the Golden Eagle.
They're
the Golden Flashes.
The Golden Flashes.
The Golden Flashes.
The Golden Flashes.
There we go.
I thought it was something like that. Isn't that Akron? Aren't they the Golden Flashes?
No, they're the Zips.
Toledo's the Golden Flashes.
I thought Toledo was the Rocket. Something with the Rockets.
Oh, God,
we're all mixed up. These Midwest
major
schools.
Midwest schools, they're all the same. God damn it. They opened. Okay, I didn't even know they were still playing football, but that's good.
Yeah, and if you stay the following week, you get to see us play Villanova too, who I didn't know had a football team. If I'm being completely honest.
Wow, Murderers Row.
Murderers Row.
The season. That sounds like it's tough. Those games are worthless, man. Nobody wants to see them. Why pay a ticket to go see that? I mean, come on. That's just awful.
And it's on a Thursday night, too.
That's just awful.
Thursday night opener against Kent State.
It's awful. But we got, real football, NFL preseason for real football. But I think it's going to be a little spicy with all the fights that we had the other day and the fact that the pansy-ass Jets didn't want to have a second practice. The Bucs will be a little pissed off at that whole deal. And maybe you want to come out and I don't know, if Todd Bowles going to play any starters or a few starters. I know the offensive line hopefully is going to play. I don't know if Tristan Wirfs
doesn't sound like it, actually. I saw reports already, I think it was late last night, this morning. No Mike, no Chris, no Tristan, no Filer. So, the big names that are on no Rashad White, they're not going to play again.
I don't get that. I just don't understand it. What is this team? This team is that good that they don't need to play in a game situation? They've never played. They've never done it before. I think this is – how the hell are you going to get ready for a season if you're not putting your guys out there? I know practice, you can get better situations in the joint practices, but you only had one joint practice. How – I mean, if this team comes out and is sluggish against the Vikings, that's exactly what I'm going to point to. You got to freaking practice, man. These preseason games, I see Pat Mahomes out there with his number one guys. I mean, what? Not one game? Because they're not going to do it the third game.
Right.
So we're never going to see this entire offensive line in a game situation?
Yeah, which doesn't make much sense to me because they
sense.
talked about getting continuity, and that's why they kind of handed out spots before we even got to training camp, in all honesty. They wanted to have continuity on the line, but how are you going to know how that continuity is if you don't see it for at least a drive or two or whatever in the preseason?
Yeah.
And then on the flip side of that, this is what I just can't wrap my head around. What is the point of having a quarterback competition if I don't get to see these guys run the operation with the full of what you have to offer?
Makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Makes no sense.
Because isn't that the whole point of, at least from Kyle Trask's standpoint, we want to see him with the ones and how he performs.
Yeah.
But he's not gonna get that chance in an actual game.
And the difference between working with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans vis-a-vis Devin Tompkins and Trey Palmer, who I think are going to play a lot this year,
Well, even just point to like the Kalen Geigers of the world,
Yeah.
who I saw a lot of in the last game. Like, he's not going to be on this roster when the
No.
season begins.
No. And there's nuances to their games in terms of ball placement, the way they run their routes, and I know they can get used to that practice. But again, there's a practice level, there's a preseason game level, and then there's an NFL level, regular season, and there's a playoff level. There are, guys. These are finely tuned athletes. Their bodies tell them what level they should be working at in what situation, right? So even when Baker Mayfield goes out there against the Minnesota Vikings, he's never worked with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans in a game situation. That's the way. That's what we're doing. That's the plan.
Apparently,
that's the plan.
And I believe too,
Wow.
with also with Sam Howell being named the starting quarterback this morning by Ron Rivera in Washington. If I'm correct, this is the only quarterback competition remaining. We are the only team to have not named a starter so far.
Well, and we all know it's going to be Baker Mayfield week 1.
Right.
So listen, after this game, if they haven't named him and Baker isn't the focus, and then I want to see in week 3 Baker Mayfield go out there with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, because they're not going to play for another 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks.
Right.
So it's not like they're going to get, look, injuries are part of the game, but at some point you've got to practice it. You got to get in the flow. Consistency, continuity is what winning in the NFL is all about. And again, if this were a well-established coach with a long history of winning seasons, I'm not second guessing this guy. He knows what he's doing, but that's not the case here. All right? This is not the case. It's a guy with a distinctively losing record and with question marks about his ability to get teams ready and accountability. How do you get we had 12 penalties in the last game, and I know a lot of those are backups. A lot of them were going to be starters on the offensive line. Like, where is the accountability? Like, if you're not doing it at game speed, how are you going to get used to it? I think this is a major, major miscalculation by Todd Bowles. We'll see. We'll see how it all works out, but I think you got to get him some work in the preseason. So we'll see what happens on Saturday night. I'm not sure. I was shocked, quite frankly, in week 1 that all those guys did not play. All those starters did not play on a team that is not a veteran-laden team. You want your veterans to be working with players they haven't played with before. Even though Matt Filer and Tristan Wirfs are veterans, they've not played together before.
Right.
And they've not played with Hainsey and Gedeke and the entire line together, because the entire line works in orchestration and the tight ends. It all works together. And in a game speed, how are you going to simulate game speed in practice? You can't do it. I don't know. I could be wrong, and every injury that happens, I guess you say, we'll see, but it's part of the game, man.
I will ask you this, because of the fact they're even telling you that the preseason is not that much of a priority to them. I think that's clear. Do you think they need to decide who's going to be quarterback? Just go ahead and make that call right after the second preseason game. Is there any need to wait to the third?
No, there's no need for that. And more than anything, public announcements are one thing. Just after the second, look, at this point, we know it's going to be Baker to start.
Yeah, and don't you think Baker probably wants to know by now?
Of course.
I think he probably has an inkling in his head, like, I'm probably the guy. Like, can we just get this over with?
Well, again, this is why I asked him the question post-game. I knew the answer was going to be no, I haven't been told I'm the starter, but I wanted to see how he answered the question. And as it was coming out of my mouth, a smirk, I'm not talking about an arrogant smirk. It was like, as I'm asking the question, he goes, dude, you know I'm the starter. We all know I'm the starter in here, but that was the feel of the whole. I wanted to see how he was going to answer it, and he was very diplomatic in how he answered it. But there was kind of, as he started smiling as I'm asking the question, like, there are reports that you've already been told that you're already the starting quarterback for, and he's like, yeah, I haven't been told that, but he knows.
He's acted like the guy since I feel like day one, since he got in the building. And
Of course.
it even goes to the first guy that it looked like he friended was Tristan Wirfs.
Yeah,
Going to
of course.
Rays games together. They're out on the town together, all those things.
Smart guy.
Tristan Wirfs loves him, all those things.
Yeah.
Very smart, calculated move by Baker Mayfield.
Right.
So he's acted like he's going to be the guy from day one.
Yeah. And look, so yes, get him ready. And part of getting him ready is going out there in the third game and working with the ones for 2 or 3 series. For God's sakes, Brady did it. Baker Mayfield's not going to do it. We'll see. I don't think anything's been decided yet, but I think I heard Rick Stroud say that they're not planning on playing many of the starters in this game either. I don't get that. I'm not a fan of that. But what I want to see, what I would like to see is Baker Mayfield. I was going to say, when working with the ones, I would like to see him work with the ones. I would like to see him work with a offensive line that includes Tristan Wirfs. I mean, Tristan Wirfs has never played left tackle in a game in the NFL, but we're not going to let him do that until I don't get it. I also would like to see some of these. I like to see Trey Palmer, which I think we're definitely going to see a lot of Trey Palmer. I think we're going to see a lot of Devin Tompkins. I think a lot of Kalen Geiger. I think a lot of Cade Warner. I think we're going to see all those guys.
And I saw some kind of, stuff being talked about from Bucs fans on Twitter, and it's like, Trey Palmer is a classic guy that, has a lot of hype coming into him going into the season. And are you really counting on him to be a better option than Russell Gage, who's a proven receiver in this league? And, it's a fair question, honestly. But I think a lot of people are really getting hung up over this 6th-round pick thing on him.
Yeah.
I think everybody's really getting wrapped up into that. To me, I trust my eyes. And my eyes, when I've been out there and when I've seen things, I don't see much difference between those two players.
No.
And I honestly think Trey Palmer's ceiling is higher than Russell Gage.
Oh, without question.
That's just my opinion. So while I feel bad for a Russell Gage, I do, because his entire career, I mean, we found out the injury, I think, after we went off the show yesterday.
Yeah.
This is a full rupture of an Achilles. Patella, right?
Yeah.
This is even worse than just like tearing it. A full-ass rupture right here for Russell Gage. So who knows what the timeline is to even play again. I don't know.
Unlikely.
Very unlikely. It's the same injury like Cadillac Williams had.
I think are going to have like $6 million in dead cap money next year, so they would like to keep him and get his services. But, I have a feeling Trey Palmer is going to make him an afterthought anyway. And Devin Tompkins and David Moore. I like what I've seen from David Moore.
He can do a job. He can put in to put a cliche. He'll put in a shift for you.
Yeah.
He'll do that job as a veteran. No, I'm so into Trey Palmer. You know what I did yesterday? I have a big dynasty fantasy football league, 5 years going, and you could trade like draft picks and everything, like for next year's rookie draft. I traded 2 picks to get Trey Palmer. That's how much I believe in Trey Palmer. I'm giving up precious draft capital in a big money buy-in league to get my Trey Palmer.
Wow.
So I'm putting it out there. I'm all on the Trey Palmer bandwagon.
I think it's a little premature. It's a little premature.
Maybe just a little bit, but I'm full buying in.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Dan Lucas is going to join us live from New Jersey, where he will be hosting the NFL preseason game between the Bucs and the Jets on WFLA-TV, along with Rondé Barber and Chris Myers and the whole crew. So we'll get a preview of their Channel 8 broadcast and much more when we come back. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES Lawgroup.com, and Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Get your testosterone right, get your health right, get everything right at BAMMC.com. Back in 3. Stay with us. Here for the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports.
It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. Let's speak to Diamond in the Rough right here. The great Dan Lucas, News Channel 8. I guess they're out of the rough now. No doubt about that. In Jersey, getting ready for the big broadcast for Jets and Bucs. First of all, good morning, my friend. And are we going to see some starters? Anybody going to play? Are we going to get the week one?
I don't know.
Too good for this.
I don't know. I don't know who we're going to see. I asked Todd Bowles yesterday over in the Meadowlands. I said, listen, you lost that second practice. So does this mean that some guys are going to get more reps than you maybe thought in the second game? He said the plan doesn't change. So I would imagine, obviously, Trask starts, and you're going to get the slew of guys trying to get these depth positions. I think the emphasis in this game tomorrow is wide receiver.
Yeah,
because it's a bit of a question mark right now after the injury on Wednesday, and I think we all know how the hierarchy goes at the top for at least three.
Yeah,
but the last three spots are at stake, and you take a guy like Kalen Geiger, who suited up for a few games last year.
Yeah,
didn't particularly have a great day last Friday against the Steelers, and he's one of the guys in the rotation for returns. The pressure is on him tomorrow night, and I think the pressure is a little bit less on Trey Palmer, but now Trey Palmer knows he's being talked about.
yeah.
We've anointed him the camp darling, and he knows his opportunity. He's got to step in for an injured teammate, and so he's going to want to go above and beyond his reps in this game as well. So I think the receiver position is what Todd Bowles is really locked in on, and I don't know how many starters we're going to see, to be honest with you, JP. I don't think it's a whole lot. I think they got spooked by the injury Wednesday.
Well, listen, injuries are part of the game. It's not like this team continuity wins in this league, man. And, Baker Mayfield has not played in a game situation with Tristan Wirfs, with Mike Evans, with Chris Godwin. I mean, I get it. You don't want to get him hurt, but I see, Pat Mahomes is out there with his number one guys, right? They're all over the league. I think I'm second guessing Todd Bowles here, that I think in order for his team to get ready to play at Minnesota, pretty damn good football team, by the way, in a hostile environment, you got to get guys out there in game situations. I think this is a tremendous misstep. And when you get hit with something like losing valuable evaluation time, and when you lose a practice like that with the Jets, how does the plan not change? It's like, well, yeah, hurricane just popped up, but we're not changing the plans. We're going outside. You got to
Right.
adjust to what you're handed. You just got handed a shit sandwich. You got to. I'm with you, man. Those reps that you wanted to see in competition at the high level 1v1, I want to see them on Saturday night. Now,
the guy I talked to after practice Wednesday was Tristan Wirfs, and he said that was the first time he went up against an opponent, obviously since the playoff game,
right?
And a new position for him. Even in that practice Wednesday, he told me he had 2 plays that he knew of that his hand was in the wrong position. Remember, it said it was a big deal which hand he led with. He said 2 plays in the scrimmage, it bothered him that he led with the wrong hand, and he would have preferred to have practiced with the Jets on Thursday. So I would be willing to bet that this O-line is begging to play, because the starting 5 minus Ryan Jensen has not lined up except for practice the other day. And who can? Maybe they were happy with what they saw on the film after their practice. Sure, but like you said, get under the lights in the uniforms. Give me a series or 2, and let's just have something to work with.
I couldn't agree more, partner. And it would be much better for the broadcast as well. Just saying. And I guess Kyle Trask is going to get the start. Have you had a chance to talk to him about what this start means to him? I mean, obviously there's still a competition going on. I think we all know it's Baker's job to start in Minnesota. Doesn't mean he's going to keep it all year long. But what do you think Kyle Trask's mindset is right now?
Well, I think Wednesday's practice was a confidence boost for Kyle. He performed very well, I thought. He was the one who threw the big 60-yard bomb to Palmer behind Sauce Gardner, which was basically the play of the day in the practice from the Bucs perspective. And it was an eye-opener. I mean, you know how in practice you see all these reps and sometimes you don't even know what the hell you're watching?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see something happen and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
That was the play.
That was meaningful.
And the Bucs, that was the whole day. That and Anthony Nelson's pick 6 when I was over on the other field with the defense. Unfortunately, it wasn't off Rodgers, but he read it beautifully. He's back in coverage and just read a pass beautifully. It was picked. He was gone. It was in a game. That's a touchdown. And by the way, we didn't talk about this much because Russell Gage was the big topic and obviously Trey Palmer, but the defensive line and those outside linebackers had a hell of a practice. Unbelievable practice. There were whistle sacks against Rodgers. Guys got to him. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka got to him. So that was a tremendous sign, I thought, in that practice session.
I also heard that the offensive line kind of manhandled that really good Jets front 7 in the run game. Rashad White popped a couple. That to me was the most exciting. Like, Cody Mock was pancaking people. What did you see?
Mm-hmm. I saw one run where Rashad White ran between Hainsey and Malk. And it was untouched. It was untouched. He got to the second level, and then the play was over because they made their point. But that's a big gainer in a game, and a good sign for the run game for sure. As I thought the run game struggled a little bit in the Pittsburgh game, didn't get anything going, and anything they did do positive was negated by a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
So penalties, I said, what are the big topics tomorrow night? I would have to say a clean football game is one of them because they just absolutely took 2 steps back on these penalties, took them out at 4th and 1 try, just stupid things that we didn't get a chance to see. Bucs fans, they want to see this team convert 3rd and 1
Mm-hmm.
4th and 1.
Yes,
This is PTSD the Bucs fans are dealing with. We just want to see. I just want to see 3rd and 1 and watch the running back plod over the thing for 3 yards and be first down. I think Bucs fans would just pop a beer and have a good night if they can see that just once.
How was the overall intensity of the practice? So at least the clips that we saw, there seemed like there was a lot of fights and skirmishes and all those things. And we're all looking forward to now seeing Hard Knocks on Tuesday. Does that line up with what you see in the intensity that was there?
I thought that the Bucs initiated a lot of it, and I thought it was great. I thought it was terrific because they knew going into the practice that was their one practice. And I think talking to some of the guys yesterday in the Meadowlands, Carlton Davis specifically, he was a little pissed off about not practicing on Thursday with them because he says that's when you get to dance on Thursday. Day 1 is the setup. Day 2 is when you dance. And I go, Carlton, you guys partied and danced Wednesday big time. What the hell was Thursday going to look like?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
the one I saw Luke Gedeke go at it with his guy. The guy rolled on him. Gedeke got up, and then before he could get a shot in, everybody was on him. But the guy, Levante David, got a shot in under the face mask right in front of us before anybody could get to him. And that I was like, Levante has intensity as a veteran, but I've never seen him that. I've never seen that. That was, I mean, these guys were hot and furious with what was being said, the chirping that was going on. And I mostly, when you see skirmishes at training camp, it's usually the gunners during the punt session. So people get their feelings hurt, whatever. And, right. But when you get the main guys going at it, and then all of a sudden 40 guys are around because I got to get my guy out of here, that's meaningful. And so it happened right in front of the giant bleachers where all the Jets fans were. So they thought it was great. I'm sure they thought that their guy got the best end of it. But Levante got a shot in there, and that was like I was standing next to Jeff Ryan from Buccaneers Radio.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he goes, "I've never seen that." Yeah. I said, "No, me either." That's Levante David. I thought it was great.
This is why I would, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes with Todd Bowles or how he's talking to his team, but his team went out there and whooped that ass on Wednesday. They kicked the Jets' ass, all right? And then the Jets, pussied out and didn't want to do their Thursday deal. And to me, this is a time for Bowles that he could be a tone setter here, right? And say, look, these guys, everybody's talking about these guys, the Jets. Oh, they're going to win the AFC East. Like they're the big team. Rodgers is here. They're on Hard Knocks. Like not only did we kick their ass in practice, but we're going to come out and kick their ass Saturday night in the first half. And we're going to set a tone for, you know what? We're not a bottom feeder. The Bucs are not. You all want to talk about the Jets. I don't care if it's preseason. We're going to come out and make a statement with our starters that we're here to play. But instead, we're just going to roll it all back and send out the backups and just do a preseason. I think this is an opportunity for Bowles to make a statement, And I think, maybe it's overplayed. Maybe I'm just trying to hype up a preseason game. But I think you have to, I hear coaches say this all the time. You set the tone for the season in training camp. You set the tone, right? This seems to me to take advantage of what you just did on Wednesday and build that momentum, put it out there on Front Street on the play, in the Big Apple on Saturday night. I know Rodgers isn't going to play, but whatever. This would be a good tone setter for me. You went up there for the week and you kicked their ass. What about us?
Right. Well, I'll say one thing about the intensity Wednesday with the Bucs. Last year they did this in Nashville with the Titans. Right. And the Titans absolutely pushed the Bucs all over the place on day one to the point where I would have to imagine there were some uncomfortable conversations because Thursday the Bucs came out and returned the favor. This time, no, the Jets did not push the Bucs around. The Bucs made a point. I'll say this again though. They knew ahead of time they weren't going to practice together Thursday. So all that stuff, they got their money's worth if you're talking from the player's perspective. Right. The coaching staff, whether they encourage that or not, I don't know. And I also don't know what was exactly said between Robert Saleh and Todd Bowles, earlier in the week, to cancel Thursday practice. If I'm Bowles and I get that phone call, I'm furious. Yep. Because now I'll poop on the Jets a little bit here because last week they had practice with Carolina the second day was canceled because of weather. And it's my understanding that, yes, there was weather coming, but they could have gotten some work in. And the Jets said, now we're good. One of the Jets writers told me that Saleh did go on a radio show and hint that he's not a fan of the second day of those joint workouts because that's when all the shenanigans happen. You know, people get pissed off on day one, and day two, the skirmishes and stuff happen. Well, guess what? It's day one, and some key Bucs players said, you know what? Screw you guys. Here comes the shenanigans. Get ready. Roll cameras, Hard Knocks. roll tape.
Yeah, like I said, this was an opportunity for him to show it, and I don't know. I would like to see.
And this is a bonding. This is a bonding trip, JP. Up here for the week. This has been. I'm talked to some of these guys. They've been here a few days. They feel like they've been here a week and a half.
Right.
And so they're in it together. They had adversity yesterday. The Meadowlands from here. We're at the team hotel, which is about 25 miles from the Meadowlands. You know, they had to get on buses, dressed for practice, ride the buses to the Giants facility rather than the 6-minute ride to the Jets facility, which is why they're here. Yeah. So that's annoying. That's annoying. And then it was like high school football. So so at the Giants facility yesterday, which by the way, they were very gracious and grateful to the Giants. They got off the buses, walked through the gate, sat on benches to put on their cleats. The trainers are setting up tables, taping guys right in front of us where we have all of our TV gear. That's the training room. The only thing missing was McDonald's bags from like the Pee Wee days. So, and then they went out and practiced.
Pizza coming in, yeah, right.
Right, exactly.
All the
and
more
then when
reason.
practice was over, they got in. They got back on the bus in their clothes, in their uniform, sweaty, gross.
Yeah.
To ride back to the hotel 20 minutes or whatever it was, and then now they're having meetings here at the hotel. That's bonding.
Yeah.
And like you said, training camp sets the tone. Stuff like that. I happen to believe I'm big into team stuff. I would have to imagine they became closer as a team yesterday going through that because they had to laugh when they looked at what they were doing. That's stuff you talk about for a while.
And so you would think the starters would want to go out. So just imagine in my crazy world that I live in that you put the starters out there and, you know, they go up top to Mike Evans and he freaking spikes it and they're all getting in the Jets' faces. And then they come out for a second. The defense goes out there and kicks ass. They come out for a second series, do the same thing and just lay it on them and then just say, okay, now we're done. Now we're going to the sideline, you bunch of assholes for doing what you did. Instead, we're going to put it out the second team, throw a couple more flags because guys don't know how to line up, and and that's what the game will be. I hope not, but if I think there's an opportunity here.
Well,
but
I agree with you. I honestly don't know who they're going to play. Like I said, he said the plan doesn't change. Maybe the plan is to put the starting O-line out there for a series.
So.
I would have to imagine Dave Canales would like to have a series with these guys too, because this is game 2 for him as well. And I don't care how vanilla you are right now. Canales is calling plays right now. And I would like to call a play to my quarterback with my 11 on the field. And so the quarterback can hear it and call the play and they can line up, not have a pre-snap penalty. If I'm Dave Canales, I want that. Those are his reps.
I couldn't agree more. I don't. We'll see what they do on Saturday night. But if this is the backup crew again, and 16 starters are sitting down like week 1, then we've already called Todd Bowles out this week. Then it's going to be. Yeah, I just don't get it. But we'll see. We'll see some more backups. What other things are we looking forward to on the broadcast?
Well, tonight. First of all, I talked to a fan at the practice the other day. Had his son with him. Had Bucs gear on. Guys from Long Island, has no Florida ties. Long Island Joe, I call him. We're gonna put him on tonight because he was terrific. He was a Bucs fan really around the Dungy days, the turnaround, the late '90s. So he had his Super Bowl 37 shirt on.
Nice.
And he's a long time Bucs fan. Says he comes down to Ray J tries to go once a season, but doesn't get there every year. But he was cool. Had his little kid's like 3, got a Bucs hat on. He goes, "Go Bucs!" So you got a guy in New York. He's raising him a Bucs fan. Usually when you come up this area, it's Giants, Yankees. No, this guy's like, go Bucks, go Bucks.
Nice.
So he's cool. Yeah. And tomorrow night we're gonna hear from. I had a one-on-one with Levante David after the practice, so he was just coming off the field, and he said, "Yeah," he goes, aside from that nonsense, I thought we had a pretty good day. I'm like, nonsense? I go, you're the one who got the shot in there. That's awesome. That's not nonsense. That's awesome. So that's coming up tomorrow.
That's a sweet uppercut. All right, and if you guys, I don't know what kind of resources you're devoting at News Channel 8 to what the hell's going on with Wander Franco in the DR. We're getting reports that it's not looking good for him. Have you guys heard anything on that front, like what the future holds in this investigation?
The Pedro Gomez seems to be dialed in to the Dominican writers who are in touch with the prosecutors. No, it doesn't sound good at all, and I don't because of the nature of the involvement. If it's worst case scenario, you don't want to say, oh well, maybe he can do this and play and get back. I just want to see it play out first before I figure out what is in this guy's baseball future.
Yeah.
But right now, this is, judgment coming back to haunt somebody if it's worst case scenario. And it sounds like it's multiple occurrences. So it doesn't look good. And the fact that the Rays obviously can't say much, but to not have him on the West Coast trip means you're not going to have him around for a while. You're not going to have him around for a little while. Some people are saying he may never play baseball again, which is a pretty scary thought. But, it's an awful situation. So, we are in a wait-and-see mode. I think the stuff coming out of the Dominican now is really where the heart of this is. And so that's where we are, just kind of playing along with everybody, just kind of waiting and hearing.
Yeah. Boy, what a situation. All right, Dana, we'll be watching tomorrow night. Pregame starts at what, 6:30? 7 o'clock? What time?
7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. Yep, 7 to 7:30. And then Chris and Rondé, 7:30, and you'll hopefully get your wish. We'll get a starting 11 out there.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right, thanks, Dana. Appreciate it. How's the hotel there? How's the setup? Good? You and Hanson having a good time?
There's you'll like this, JP. There's an Irish pub in this hotel.
Oh.
And inside and it looks, when you walk in, you feel like you're in a pub in Dublin or somewhere. And so you talk to the bartender, who happens to be Irish, and he's pointing out the bar is built in like 3 sections, and it's got all this woodwork. It's dark inside, just like you see in the movies. Yeah. And he said everything you see in this pub was picked out in Ireland and shipped in containers to the U.S. and built here. Like they have church pews as part of the bar. They got all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, dude, this is awesome. This is awesome. I'll take a Guinness, please. Man, I'll take 2. Give me 2.
What's interesting? If you know a little bit about pub life, so the wood bar in the back of the bar, like these are considered like generational art pieces of art.
Yes.
Like how it's carved, what it is, like it's and the more ornate the back of the bar setup, and the bar itself, the more wood, the more carvings and all this, like the better the pub. That's how that's how it's anywhere you go in Ireland, if you walk in, and it could be a complete shit box on the outside, that doesn't matter. Yeah. Nobody cares. It's like, what does your bar look like? What is your bar? And so for them to take that kind of interest and care to do that, I'm like tip of the cap right there for that old Irish. What's the name?
Exactly.
Let's give them a plug, that Irish pub.
I'll have to. I gotta get my tag here. Ogre something.
Mulligans. It's Shaughnessy.
Yeah.
Is it right?
Oh something.
Yeah.
Oh something. But no, terrific people here. We're in no man's land here in close to Morristown, which by the way is really nice. Hilly, nice homes. And then you get to the Jets facility. The Jets facility is terrific. And then you get closer, and you're 25, 30 minutes outside of the city. So it's a good location for the Bucs to be here. But I would have to imagine yesterday that ride to the Meadowlands. We drove it in the rental car. We didn't have a police escort. I'm like, And you on the interstate, you get the signs that say New York City this way, and I'm like, my God, can you imagine the people that drive this crap every single day?
Oh my
That's
God.
gotta suck.
Well,
That's gotta absolutely suck.
4 days in
So,
Jersey. Oh, what a plum assignment for you, Dan Lucas. Well done. All right.
I feel like I'll be like Tony Soprano by the time it's over, baby.
Dan Lucas, somewhere in the swamps of Jersey. Hold on.
Yeah.
All right, boss. We'll
I'll
see
get the cannolis, baby. Get the cannolis. All right.
Leave the gun, take the cannolis. All right, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. The great Dan Lucas right there, somewhere in the swamps of Jersey. I'm looking forward to the game, though. I'm still looking forward to it. We don't know. We don't know. Maybe he will make changes plan.
I know. Maybe he's just fooling everybody right now.
Well, we'll see. This is what leadership is about. This is what head coaching is about. This is how you right. This is how you do it. And it's an opportunity because they capitalized on Wednesday. And what else can they do? They get treated like this by the Jets. So unprofessional. Do something about it. Set the tone. Set the tone. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk a little Rays. We'll catch you up on the latest on Wander Franco. We'll talk some college football today. It's going to kind of be like a potpourri Friday here. We got a lot of interesting stories. High school NIL. Great piece in the Times by Matt Baker and Joey Knight on that. I want to talk a little bit about that and how that affects athletes here in the state of Florida. So, quick break. We're brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Get great customer service, save money, let them do the work while you save all the dough. Let them shop your insurance around, whether it be homeowners, auto. They just saved me $1,000 on my annual premium for my auto insurance. Let them shop it around and see what they can find. 813-877-7799. Back in 3. Stay with us. Sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. TrueBody offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on TrueBody and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa. And for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Extravaganza Productions. You got any events coming up? A big birthday party? You want to have a big celebration? Maybe you got a 50th or a 60th or something coming up. And you're like, let's do something different. Get the pros involved. Get Extravaganza Productions involved. You'll be surprised how little it costs you instead of doing it all yourself, trying to do the audio visual and all this other shenanigans. Let the pros do it. And you can get their creative involvement as well. You get a free creative session with the folks at Extravaganza Productions just by telling them you heard it on the JP Show. So go to the website, extravaganzaproductions.com, or Google them and give them a call and tell them JP sent you. They'll give you that free session. You can go check out their incredible prop warehouse. They got all kinds of crazy stuff in there, and they'll come up with a theme and do it all for you. That's Extravaganza Productions. They are phenomenal. I've worked with them many times, big events, small events. Give them a call. Tell them JP sent you. All right, we got a little event coming up this weekend as the Rays go and visit Shohei Ohtani. I looked at a graphic the other day, and it said WAR, like who's leading the league in WAR, and it was like Shohei Ohtani 8.9, then it was like 8.8, 8.7, nobody. All the down to like 4.3 was the next closest guy, and I'm like, I think we know who the MVP is. I mean, when you look at it, because they obviously combine his pitching impact with his hitting impact and everything else. Jesus,
he's the greatest player I've ever laid eyes on. It's just I never saw Barry Bonds play, and I see highlights and I see that looks like the greatest player of all time. But living in the Shohei Ohtani era is just insane. It really is. I'm so happy the fact the Rays get to avoid him from the pitching staff this weekend. The way it drawled, they don't have to face him, but. Just at the plate right now, he's like leading in so many different categories. I think the last game that he played, I forgot who they played. It might have been Texas or something. And he got a fastball, and it was high and up, and it was like literally like almost at his chin.
Yeah.
And obviously it was like 95, 96, and he just somehow just goes up and gets it and hits it to dead center like 430 feet.
Crazy.
And nobody else is hitting that pitch like him.
No.
He's just unreal. It's like every home run he hits now, it's like 400. They're like tape measure shots. Every single one he hits now. He hit a ball, 118 off the bat in Houston this past week. That's like the hardest hit ball in the StatCast era. I mean, it's just insane. It's absolutely insane. But as it relates to this series, the Angels, as we know, are one of the worst teams in baseball since they decided to hold on to him.
Yeah.
So unfortunate for them.
Which is crazy.
And so the Rays, I fully expect them to go out there and hopefully take 2 out of 3 from the series and keep chipping away at Baltimore, who I was reminded this last night. You know, Baltimore, I don't really look at this column typically, but like run differential, you know, Baltimore is like they're only plus 58 and the Rays are plus 145.
That's crazy.
And run differential.
You know what that is? Bullpen.
Yeah.
When you have 2 guys at the back of the bullpen, you win every one-run game.
Right.
You win every
But as I've been saying, they're playing with fire. And the fact that they're having to overuse those guys, that's why I'm saying I think the Rays, if they can get in front of Baltimore, I think they have a good shot to maybe get in front of Baltimore down the stretch. Baltimore's got the harder schedule. Their rotation, even though the Rays is banged up, is still light years ahead of what Baltimore has to offer. And then I think the back of their bullpen is going to wear down. I think the Rays can catch them.
Well, we'll see. They got to win series like this, though. Even though you're on the road on the West Coast, you're playing a team that is just not playing well and has one superstar who you know, frick, I walk him every time. I don't give him anything to hit. He's the only guy that's doing anything for them for the most part.
They are so desperate. I saw this morning when I was scrolling through Twitter. Jeff Passan put this out. This is how desperate the Angels are. They have called up for this series first baseman Nolan Schnull, if I got that right. They took him with the 11th pick 5 weeks ago in the draft. He's 21 years old, played at FAU, and he's played in 21 minor league games, slashing 370, 510, 493, so outstanding. But he only has 21 AA games under his belt, and they're putting up in the major league starting with tonight against the Rays. That is how desperate the Angels are right now.
Why not?
Just to get any kind of spark, or at this point, let's see what we have with some of these young guys. Yeah. Just F it, whatever.
Yeah, why not? I mean, might as well get them going and see some major league pitching. Obviously a kid that played in college for 3 years. He's not an 18-year-old wet behind the ears high school kid coming up. So Yeah, it's not crazy, but
I didn't see this too. This is insane. When he was in FAU, 289 plate appearances this last year.
yeah.
He hit 447 with an 868 slugging, with 71
Jesus.
walks and only 14 strikeouts in 289
Yeah,
plate
they
appearances.
clearly weren't pitching to him, but
So
he was
clearly they
disciplined enough not to take his walks.
So clearly, we'll see him tonight, and the Rays are going to throw out Erasmo, which is why I have to admit I laughed at this comment that we had this morning
I did like this, yeah.
from Alex's Dash to Financial Freedom. It's the name of your account, I guess.
Yes.
Rays need to call up Taj to start instead of this Erasmo Mickey Mouse bullpen stuff they are trying to do tonight. Well, Taj, I will say, he got an outing in, I think, a day or two ago. I think he gave him 5 shutout innings in Durham. So I think that was his best outing since he's gone back there. You're going to see Taj. He'll be back up.
There's something really weird going on with him. I don't know what it is, but he's young, number one. He's 22 years old, but he's also like, I don't want to say immature, but it feels like he's just sometimes overmatched. I don't know if that's even the right word. He doesn't show a lot of emotion, but when he
I think he's very composed for a young kid.
I don't know if it's composed or just like, I'm like, it's just too much for me. Or it's kind of a weird vibe. It doesn't feel like he's like freaking out on the mound, but it's like he's almost too chill. He's almost too chill.
I think it's just a matter of, I think his fastball is there. His fastball is major league ready. I think sometimes he needs to trust it a little bit more and know that you can throw 98, 99. Okay, you can get guys out left and right with that pitch. I think we all know that. I think it's his off speed that he kind of struggled with. And the last couple starts, he started hanging some of those breaking balls. I think that's what he's got to really hone in on. And I think that's where I think his problems began. But listen, Blake Snell, remember what happened with him when he first came up? We were all excited about Blake Snell, and then what happened? The bottom fell out. I think it was that Chicago series was the final straw in 2016, and they sent him back down to the minors.
Yeah.
And then he came back up and he won a Cy Young 2 years later. So it's just rookie pitchers, man. Like I said, I still stand by what I said.
He's got great stuff.
He's got great stuff. I think he's one of the more well-developed pitchers the Rays have had to this point, and I think he's going to be a star for this team next year.
And this could be a big deal too for the Rays. They get Andrew Kittredge back.
Huge deal.
He had Tommy John surgery. Hasn't pitched in 14 months, and evidently has not shaved in 14 months either. He's got this big bushy beard. You don't know what to expect, but when this guy was right, he was freaking lights out.
He was an all-star. He was your closer.
Lights out, yeah.
This is now I'm trying to think of the mantra they had a couple years ago. What was it? The stable, right? The stable. This is like a guy from the stable that they had back in the day.
Right.
The guys that were throwing, 97, 98, that they don't have many guys of those in the bullpen anymore outside of Fairbanks.
Right.
Now you add Kittredge. From everything I've seen, it seems like he's been really good in AAA at times. I know the ERA is a little inflated.
He's got a 5.40 ERA, but 6 of the 8 runs allowed came in one game.
Exactly, yeah.
6 of his last 7 outings have been scoreless. So,
right.
Yeah, don't look at the ERA.
Yeah, all the other stuff. The stuff is what I was looking at. The stuff looks like it's still there for Andrew Kittredge.
Right. He could be huge, man. He could be huge if he can come up and be that guy that they can stick in the 8th inning and just be lights out, and you have a back-to-back kind of like the Orioles have. And Fairbanks can stay. He had a rough outing last Friday when he threw
What do you have, like a handful of strikes and 30 pitches?
Well, he hit 2 guys, 3
Pass
wild
balls.
pitches. They didn't even put a ball in play, and they scored 3 runs.
Right.
That's bad. You don't want your closer doing that.
No.
But that's hopefully an anomaly.
And I think the Rays too. They didn't acquire an arm at the deadline. They've acquired several arms throughout the year and have addressed the bullpen. Like Bob Stevenson has been a good find. Obviously, Zach Littell, Jake Diekman, to name a few. I think they were counting Kittredge as their acquisition in that bullpen. I think that's fair to say.
That will be huge for them. This also from the Times. Hall of Famer Big Papi, David Ortiz, on a Dominican radio station, said he wants to help Rays shortstop Wander Franco navigate his current situation. He said this on a radio station. Show Grandes en los Deportes. When I heard about the situation, I tried to make myself available to Wander to see how I could help him because I really wanted to know what was happening with that boy. I spent a long time talking to Wander at the All-Star game. I really like him because he's a good boy, like all youth, but the mission of one as a veteran is to guide these boys, not trample on them or mistreat them. Interesting comment right there. Not trample on them or mistreat them. Is that an allusion to Randy? How they were in a tussle? Obviously, that's kind of weird. But Big Papi obviously had issues of his own in the DR,
Right.
where he famously was shot, and in what looked like a hit. They came up with this cock and bull story that it was a misidentification. They were trying to do a hit on somebody else. I don't know about all that, but he clearly is very well respected in the Dominican Republic and very well connected. So, this is why this report, when it came out yesterday from Hector Gomez, that people close to your organization are saying he's never going to play Major League Baseball again. I'm sure the guy is well connected, but that just seems really, really far-fetched for me. I mean, even if he does a couple, I don't mean to make light of it, but if he does a couple of years in jail, he's 24 years old. And, I think he's, still very, very young in the game of baseball. Will Major League Baseball want him back, depending on what he did? I don't know all that. Time seems to heal a lot of wounds, right? With the difference in cultures, not making any excuses, but who knows? Like, I just can't imagine the kid will never play baseball again. That just seems really far-fetched.
It's hard to wrap your mind around it.
Yeah.
And if you're the Rays,
22 years old.
If you're the Rays, it has to be hard to wrap your mind around it too.
Yeah, big time.
And as I've said, I love the junior Camaneros of the world. I love the Carson Williams of the world, but they're not Wander Franco.
No.
They're not. I mean, that's just the fact. So, and I know there was a comment in here, and I saw this on Twitter yesterday too, and RJ put it in here in the chat. If the Rays don't have to pay Wander, do you think they put some of that money into a contract to keep Randy here more long-term? And I'll just tell you, I don't think Randy Rosarena is ever getting an extension here in Tampa Bay.
He's a Boris client, right?
Yeah, number one, he's a Boris client.
It's not happening.
Number two.
Well, now let me check that. That's not happening while Stu Sternberg owns this team, which he may not own this team for very long.
Well, I just don't think there's a need to give Randy an extension because they already have him for 3 more years of arbitration.
Right.
He'll be a UFA in 2027, of which he'll then be 32 years old. There is zero need, in my opinion, unless Randy just strong-arms you and says, I need a contract right now, which who knows, that could happen.
Or I'm not playing.
Yeah, or I'm not playing, and again, he's a Boris client, so in a way I could see it.
Oh, yeah.
Unless that happens, I think the Rays will probably end up doing arbitration. His salary's going to go up.
With his world, premier in the World Baseball Classic, he could go to Japan and make a lot of money.
Right.
So he has options. He has options. Korea, other places to make money, and not just stay in Major League Baseball. Obviously,
or maybe he'll request a trade. I don't know, but it seems like Tampa Bay. I think he likes being here, though. Like, I know Boris clients, you got to be a little bit weary sometimes because who knows what he's telling these guys. But think of how much we've embraced Randy in this community.
Yeah.
Think of how much the Rays have. I don't think he's going anywhere, but I also don't think he's going to get a long-term contract with the Rays because of the age and where he's set up with arbitration.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that money is going to be spent. If you're looking for extensions, I think Isak Paredes is a great candidate to get one of those long-term extensions. I think Josh Lowe potentially could be a guy that could get one of those, team-friendly extensions. Again, trying to model what the Braves did with their young guys and have them cheat for the long term. I think those two guys, to me, are more likely to get those extensions than Randy is.
Yeah. Yandy, I'm not sure what Yandy's situation is, but he needs to get paid as well. I think he's 31 years old.
He's 32, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's already 30. He just turned 32.
But he came up late.
Yes, and again, he doesn't become a UFA until 2027, of which he'll then be 35 years old.
Yeah. Wow. Boy, did he get screwed. But he'll want to get a long-term deal. He'd be heavily motivated to give the Rays a team-friendly deal, which would probably be more than arbitration.
Right.
I'm talking at what, $7 to $9 million a year, what they're paying Manuel Margot.
Yeah, and Manuel Margot, I think that contract is going to be number one on their list to get off the books.
Yeah. That was a swing and a miss, I think. But I think when you start talking about contracts and money to be spent, if this, and which I believe it will. I believe the sale will go through, whether it's pre-stadium or post-stadium. I think the new owners will want to have a huge say, obviously, in where the stadium is, and that means Tampa, because that's where the long-term money is. Short-term, Stu could get a deal done and put more money in his pocket, leave us with a horribly located stadium, one that I'm sure wouldn't be a Taj Mahal. Let's just put it that way. If you're on your way out, why would you do that? He'll just do something that's beneficial to him, which is Major League Baseball needs to short circuit that and say, no, we're looking long term with new ownership. So that's going to be in Tampa, and it'll be something it'll be an iconic stadium that they can grow with. And I think that would be the Braves model, where they go and then take that money and reinvest it into the team with their young players, and then go out and get your free agents and pay them as well. That's how you win championships. To me, that's how they win championships. And independent of Wander Franco, you can do that, because in a new stadium in Tampa, more revenue, obviously it'll be much more attractive for free agents to come play here. Much more attractive. They don't want to come here position players because it's not a very friendly hitter's ballpark, and the grass takes a toll on you, or the artificial turf, whatever it is, takes a toll on you. So that's why all these things point towards doing something way better in Tampa under new ownership. So should Jose Siri be re-signed? Have we seen enough of Jose Siri to tell us?
He's a fascinating case. He's
is.
like one of 5 players, I think, in Major League history, or 6, where he has, like, I think I saw this the other day. He's like over 100 WRC plus, which 100 is like league average. He's over that mark, but then his on base is like 250 or something like that. He's actually like one of 6 players in Major League history to have something like that. So he doesn't get on base at a really good clip. Kind of a boomer bust kind of guy.
Yeah.
That's
what scares me.
Where he's pushing for 30 home runs this year. But you think about the defense he provides. It's not. I don't think his defense is Kevin Kiermaier's level great.
No.
But I think it's really, really good. And then combine the fact that he's going to give you 20, 25 home runs a year, hopefully, at the bottom of your lineup. I think he has staying power in this team. An extension, I wouldn't pay big money for it.
Love this by Richie P. 32. Let me type that into my Cuban age calculator. Calculator buffering. All right, that transfers to 36 years old. Absolutely. Well done.
Have we ever figured out how old Albert Pujols actually is?
No, we have not. Silver lining in all this disaster is the ownership changes hands, and we get people that actually give a crap about the team and competing for a World Series. Yes, Bucs Basement, you're absolutely 100% spot on. And so, look, if you're one of those folks that it's like, what does this mean long term for the Rays? We don't know. There's a lot to be done if this ownership thing can go through, and hopefully I think it will, and we make the right decisions. I think it's very, very bright here. But, I think we've all almost, with the reports that have come out, we've almost assigned ourselves that we're not going to see Wander Franco. He's not going to be part of this going forward. What if this just turns out to be a huge extortion attempt? And, it's a bunch of BS. And then we have to, we can look forward to maybe a more mature Wander Franco who just had the shiz scared out of him. And maybe this will wake him up to start making mature adult decisions on and off the field.
If he makes this through this, I think the leash is going to have to be super tight from here on out.
Yeah.
No matter, because at some point the talent is never going to outweigh the baggage.
Right.
It gets to that point, and I've been saying throughout all the other issues that went on this year that, he's still young. I'm keeping that in mind. But, this is obviously a lot more of a serious issue than even, just being a bad teammate at times.
And it underscores what I think, and Orestes Destrada was on the other day with this and definitely agrees with what we've been saying. This team needs a clubhouse leader. And I would like it to be someone that's really well respected in the Latino community. And whether that's a assistant coach or a player, a veteran player that they bring in here, they got to get somebody like that. There's no replacement for a guy that has the gravitas that these guys look up to and can tell these kids, when they see him, after the game, getting in a car with a bunch of, guys that they shouldn't be getting into a car with. Hey, man, that's not where you need to be going. That's not what you need to be doing. And I'm not saying Wander was, but obviously that's kind of a metaphor for making bad choices. And your teammates know what's going on. They know what's going on. They know what's going on in your personal life. You spend so much time together. You talk to each other, and people know what's going on in your personal life. And there would have been, one of these older players would have pulled Wander aside and say, hey, man, I see what's going on over here. You need to shut that down. You need to shut that down. That is going to bite you in the ass. And, the organization can say all the things they want. He may not trust the organization. He might have good reason not to trust the organization. So that's why they need this guy. I don't know who he is or where he's going to be, but they need to invest in someone like that. And it would have been nice to do it at the deadline and be a pretty damn good hitter. That would have been a nice little plus as well. But they didn't do that, so here we are. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back and get into a couple other things. I want to talk about this high school NIL deal. The state of Florida does not allow high school players to profit from their name, image, and likeness, which I don't even know how that's constitutional, to be quite honest. So we'll dig into that a little bit, and it's already cost Tampa Catholic a premier basketball player. So we'll talk about that and much more. We're brought to you by American Mortgage Services. If you want to refi your house, you still got that equity in your house, go get that money out at a low rate. Listen, still 5-6% interest for a refi is low. It's a lot lower than what you're paying on your credit cards, right? Be smart. Do it the right way. And Scott Fitzgerald, my man Scotty, Fitzy will hook you up with the lowest fees. He takes a personal interest in getting your personal finances to that perfect level where you can invest that money and make money and you can get everything squared away. He will do that for you. No extra cost. So email him, scott@amstampa.com, scott@amstampa.com. Back in 3. Stay with us. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. It will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue, that's my carrier, love them, paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa, and for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome. Do you have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's rock.
This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, that was a rookie mistake right there. Rookie mistake. Never take a bite of bagel when you got 30 seconds left to go, because you can't shove down. You can't expedite that.
Yeah, there's a lot of chewing going on there.
No, you can't do it. There's still, it's chewy. You got a lot. It's hard to get through. You got to give it a good mash before it goes down, or you're in trouble. So that was a rookie mistake. Sorry, you guys. Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. So great to have Scott Jeeves in here yesterday. We always have a nice chat about Gator football or whatever's going on with the Gator. Big Gator fan. He and obviously I am a Seminole, so we always have a nice back and forth. And yeah, good to have him on, and I believe he will be staying on with us as a sponsor, so we're very much looking forward to that in the coming year. Just a couple comments before we get into some of this NIL discussion. Yeah, we mentioned up here that Big Poppy spoke to Wander during the All-Star break. Said he spent a lot of time with him. I'm kind of well, this thing kind of came out of nowhere. Even though Wander made a public, or there was a public complaint against him, and then a countersuit in mid-July. Was that maybe just after the All-Star game? Probably.
Right. Yeah.
Probably just after the All-Star game. So, and it still went under the radar until recently, until the Instagram post came up, which I thought was also really weird. There's so much about this that is just weird. You know, it's just not, obviously because it's happening in the DR, maybe, you know, it's just not as public, but I would think even something like that would be extremely public, and there are people that are always monitoring the major publications in the DR.
It's just hairy when you're dealing with two different countries and two different sets of laws and everything. I mean, and the fact that all the information's coming out of a country that the reporters obviously that are over here that we're used to getting information from, clearly they must be having trouble tracking down all this information because I don't see anybody really reporting about it on this side.
No, there's not much. Richie P says, at any rate, JP, us old-timers know because we've been through it that when you have vet around, it just makes a difference. Wander should have never been brought up without a real mentor. I agree, 100%, man. It's just tough because this team is just really, it's young and immature.
Well, if you recall, when he came up in 2021, who did they go out and acquire? Nelson Cruz.
Nelson Cruz, yeah.
Who fit the veteran bill. He didn't give you what you needed on the field. Yeah. But I have to think he was probably a good mentor for Wander and some of those young guys. Yeah. And as somebody chimed in, Nelson Cruz is not really doing anything right now. If you ever
also 75.
Yeah, exactly. If you ever wanted to go back down that route, I took a look at like the off season because clearly it's if you're gonna bring in a veteran, it's gonna be in the off season. Yeah. And a couple names that stood out is like a JD Martinez, who'd have to pay a little bit of a top dollar for because how great he's been, but he's out there next year as a free agent. Carlos Santana's another one who's kind of had a bounce-back year, played a lot of big games, and he fits the bill of what you're talking about. I think he's like 37.
If Wander gets through this should be a major priority in the offseason, a major priority in the offseason. So let's hope it is. A couple other things I want to get to. I posted this video of Chris Jenkins Jr., who's playing at Michigan, right?
Right.
And he's doing this thing called a Turkish lift, where you take a 170-pound dumbbell and you're on the ground, and then you're flat on the ground. We didn't talk about this on the air, did we?
No, we did not.
You never know. So with my CRS, I sometimes forget. So you have to lift it up like this, and then get yourself off the ground. Have you ever even handled a 170-pound dumbbell?
Do you see my arm right now?
Yeah,
do you see these arms?
Like I can't even
no
pick
shot.
one up. I can't. I mean, I'm a fairly strong guy, but I barely get that
I
thing
could
off
probably
the
get
rack.
it off the ground maybe, but like I ain't raising it anywhere.
Yeah. So you got to like stand up, and you should see the form of how he does it. It's very intricate, and you have to be right on balance. But my God, how strong is he? He runs a 4.33 shuttle. He's 6'4", 310 pounds, and I marvel at him, and I'm like, at what point during the evolution of elite athletes do we get to a point where football truly is a gladiator sport? Because I can't imagine him getting a 10-yard head start, and I'm a running back, and we meet in the open field with that kind of speed and power, mass plus velocity equals momentum, right? Whatever it is, you're gonna kill somebody with that kind of force and mass moving at that particular speed. And, it's only going to get bigger and faster from here on in. So football is a dangerous game, and it's getting more dangerous all the time. Crazy, crazy stuff.
And he's a freak, by the way. And the reason why I'm not overreacting just to this video, I truly feel this way. I think Michigan has multiple guys that are built like that dude, and that's why they're my pick to win it all this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think they match up well against – they're built kind of like Georgia. If you think about it, kind of same identity.
Yeah.
But I think J.J. McCarthy is very underrated in his ability to go out there and win a game for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they've overtaken Ohio State as the team in the Big Ten.
Clearly.
Some people think Michigan's the number one team in the nation to start. I think for right now I'll lean Georgia, but I think as the year goes on.
What's their early schedule? Is it Pansyville, or they actually have a test early on? I hate these teams that just go out and play nobody early on. UCF.
Their first 4 games is East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green,
Come on.
Rutgers.
Come on.
It doesn't, and then it's like Nebraska, Minnesota.
They still haven't played anybody in the top 50.
They should only have
Jesus
3 games.
Christ.
They should only have 3 games that will give them issues, and that's Michigan, Michigan State, because that's a big rivalry game, and I think Michigan State will be better. Michigan, Penn State, in Happy Valley,
Okay.
and then they get Ohio State obviously at the end at the Big House. Those are the only 3 games on their schedule that they have to worry about. Everything else they're going to mop through. Cupcake. Because I think the Big Ten is actually very inferior in that after you get past the elite teams.
Yeah. I don't even know what Wisconsin's got this year, but
they don't even have to play Wisconsin.
They don't even play Wisconsin.
Right.
What a cupcake schedule.
Yeah, and Georgia's got a little bit of cupcake too.
They should be severely punished for that non-conference schedule. By the committee, they should be severely punished. If they get 1 loss, sorry, you can't be in the playoff. Not with that schedule.
Well, do you want to?
Not with that schedule.
What
if you
about
lose to Penn State or Ohio State, you're out.
Well, look at Georgia too. You want to hear their non-conference? They get
at least they're playing in the SEC.
Right, but their non-conference is Tennessee, Martin, Ball State, and UAB.
They playing Georgia Tech at the end of the year?
And Georgia Tech.
Okay, but Georgia Tech sucks now.
That's it. And they get the draw where they get to play Vanderbilt, Missouri, right? So, obviously, Florida you have to throw in there as well because Florida's not going to have a shot in hell against them.
No.
So, Georgia's got to cut.
Down.
Both those 2 teams have a cupcake schedule.
So, they're not playing Alabama, obviously.
No.
The SEC
the only game that I think they're going to be remotely tested is maybe Tennessee on the road.
Yeah.
And that's right. That's the second to last game of the season. But outside of that,
they lost their offense coordinator.
Right. But outside of that, I don't think Georgia's going to be tested one bit.
You see,
but here's the thing.
Here I am thinking, it's SEC schedule. They're not playing LSU. They're not playing Alabama. The Florida's down. Tennessee, without Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, like the only 2 ranked teams on their schedule is Ole Miss and Tennessee. But keep in mind, they were supposed to play Oklahoma this year.
Right.
But then when Oklahoma came to the SEC, that whole thing went through. That game, for whatever reason, was then they agreed to take it off the schedule, and then they replaced Oklahoma with Tennessee Martin or, Ball State or whatever.
I don't hear anybody bitching about FSU schedule after that. See, that's a travesty. Those non-conference schedules are a travesty. Why are they not playing a big team early on? Especially you, Georgia. You're better than that. You're better than that. Play a kickoff game of some magnitude. And this is the other thing. When we finally get to the 12-team playoff, teams will be more apt to do that because obviously you're going to have 2 and 3 lost teams in the 12-team playoff. That's just going to be part of it.
Yeah, and look at the difference. Like at least to Michigan's big rival is Ohio State. They're willingly going on the road to play Notre Dame.
Right.
And they're going to be there in that stadium, 100,000 people or whatever it is.
Yeah.
No walk through the park. So that's why I think Michigan has such a great draw this year, I think, to get through. And they're my early pick to win the national championship. And then Alabama as well, they got to play Texas too.
Yeah.
So at least they're going out and play. Oh, they also got to play South Florida.
Who's that?
Alabama.
Oh, yeah. Part of that. That's going to be very interesting. I don't know if interesting is the right word for that.
Can you imagine if Texas somehow beats Alabama in that second game of the year, and then you get a pissed-off Nick Saban team coming into Tampa?
I'm sorry. I'm not. I know Texas has a hell of a roster in terms of recruits and 5 stars. I'm not ever believing in Texas until they really, really show me something.
Man, but damn if they didn't have Alabama on the ropes last year until Quinn Ewers got hurt.
They did.
They looked like they had it. But then again, you know how I feel about Alabama. We're starting to doubt them, and I think that's just don't do that.
Yeah.
Just don't do that to a Nick Saban team.
Yeah, no question. All right. Interesting to note that this is a really interesting story that was in the Times by Matt Baker and Joey Knight, who've been covering college football and high school sports for a long, long time. And it's about Florida not allowing high school players to do name, image, and likeness contracts and get money for it. Carter Knox, who was the younger brother of Kevin Knox and the son of Kevin Knox, who used to play for FSU. I covered him way back in the day. Great dude. Really good wide receiver, by the way.
I went to middle school with him.
Yeah. Oh, you did? That's right.
With Kevin Knox.
Yeah. Yeah. And
slamming on us in middle school.
Yeah, and hell of a player. Yeah, his dad was a really, really good wide receiver for Florida State. Big guy, 6'4", could jump out of the gym. Really, really good player. But so his son Carter, who is a 5-star, was a rising senior, and he was going to play for Tampa Catholic, which, by the way, their gym is named for his brother who paid for the new gym. And they decided to pick up and go to Atlanta because Georgia allows his name, image, and likeness, and he can make a significant amount of money. You know, I would believe it's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars because there's like this professional high school league that these guys go to play in. It's called Overtime Elite, a pro basketball league for 16 to 20-year-olds in which players can opt to play for a six-figure salary or scholarship money to preserve their college eligibility. I mean, as Kevin said, his father, he said, we like Tampa Catholic. I mean, the school's gym is Kevin Knox Fieldhouse. Our family will always be tied in a collusion with Tampa Catholic, but what we wanted to do, like any other individuals, we live in America, take advantage of the name, image, and likeness, and that's what we were able to do. So this is going to start reverberating. Now, we're supposed to have this changed as of next year, but lawmakers, get on it. What are you waiting for? Why was this not done last session? You're killing high school sports in this and putting the colleges at a disadvantage as well. Look at what Missouri did. Missouri lawmakers passed a law, and I don't think this is constitutional, to be quite honest, but they passed it, and it's in effect right now, that if you sign with an in-state school in Missouri, then you can immediately start benefiting from your name, image, and likeness. Now, you can't – see, this is kind of weird. You can't sign with a in-state school when you're like a junior or something. You can commit. You can commit. Maybe that's, a written commitment is as long as it's in some way binding. But I think that's a tremendous idea. And and Missouri's head coach is like, yeah, I mean, that's awesome for us. We really appreciate them doing it.
I didn't know this was a thing. I read this article this morning, and so he's joining this thing in Atlanta called Overtime Elite.
Yeah.
How I understand it, and it's a pro basketball league for 16 to 20-year-olds who opt to play a six-figure salary or scholarship money to preserve their college eligibility.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this was a thing going on.
Oh, yeah.
So we have some of the best players in high school sports that aren't even playing high school?
Yeah. They're just, of course. Why
and
would
you're just playing pro? I guess that's no different than what the guys do over in Europe then, right?
No. Soccer players do it.
That's true.
Baseball players do it.
It's just not something that I've typically seen in America before, and I guess this is all just very new right now.
Well, and this is why, college basketball is dying on the vine because they're an archaic model. But now players can be paid in college for basketball too, with name, image, and likeness.
Yeah, but let's be honest though. College basketball is going to have a shot in the arm this year, I think.
Why?
And I said that, and then I started thinking about it, and remembering what happened. And I was going to bring up Bronny James.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, knowing what just happened to him, who knows what his status is for the season.
He's not playing this year.
But I was going to say, I thought college basketball was going to have a nice jolt with him being there.
Yeah, it would have
because
been great.
Regardless if you think he's overhyped or whatnot, you were going to tune in to watch Bronny James.
Right.
And he was going to be the lead story on Sports Centers and all those
Right.
things. And college basketball was going to benefit from that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and this is why I've been arguing this for 20 effing years. Let's stop pretending that these basketball programs and football programs are not professional endeavors. You're making billions of dollars off the athletes. Just change the model and just because why? Now we have Overtime Elite. Now we have the G League. Nobody wants to see that. There's no emotion taught. No, they're the better players. That's where the better players are going. We have these huge coliseums. We have the Dean Dome. We have Cameron Indoor Stadium, Kentucky. Look at all these Taj Mahals we have of college basketball that are being filled up with, by mediocre players because of your stupid-ass rules that you think, you got to go to school and you got to represent you got to go to class. I'm sorry, folks. It's archaic. It's archaic. Make these two programs basically professional entities, booster organizations that send the money to the school. Keep the financial model in that way so it benefits the school, and the school they have all the infrastructure for to make the most money for everybody, players and for fans to enjoy it. Why should our great players be going to Overtime Elite to play in small gyms in front of 12 people when he should be staying at Tampa Catholic, getting his NIL money, matriculating to the University of Florida or Florida State, hopefully in state, right? And playing in these beautiful in the SEC or the ACC, right, until they're ready to go pro. And I'm telling you, these guys would stay in college longer if they already had their money. The only reason they go is because why would you not go? If they're going to pay you to go, you go. If they're going to, if they could get paid in college, which they should be getting paid in college, then they'd rather stay with kids their age playing in these wonderful plays. You think kids want to go sit on the end of a bench with a bunch of 29 and 30-year-olds playing in the NBA instead of playing in Cameron Indoor Stadium as a starter for Duke? Of course they would stay in school. And then college basketball would be the way it used to be, where guys would stay in school 2-3 years, teams would gel together, and you'd have a tremendous college basketball product, which you don't have now. And it's all because of greed and the people that don't want to pay the players. Stupid. It's just stupid. And we forced them to do these overtime elite. You didn't even know about it, right? And this is one of the best college basketball players. I didn't know about it either. Do you ever watch G League games where these young players are these development? No, nobody's watching that.
No,
crap.
and think of the big players that have come out of there. You think of
Right.
Jalen Green. You think of Scoot Henderson, the Thompson brothers, and some of the
These
other
guys
players.
should be playing at major colleges.
But I just didn't care.
Right. Because you have no emotional. Imagine if he was playing for FSU, USF, UCF. It would be transformative.
Right. And
Transformative.
And even if you go back a few years back, like I feel like this like stigma almost on like the European players for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go back to like that 2018 draft that was really loaded, and Ayton went 1, and I think Trae Young went 2, and Luka Doncic went 3. If Luka Doncic was playing in college basketball and you would have seen that level of production on your screen every single weekend, he would have been number 1 pick.
Right.
But because he played in Europe, I'm pretty sure that's probably why he was seen as uncertain,
Right.
Or the fact that Nikola Jokic, I don't know what the guy did in Europe before he came over to the NBA, but
He wasn't much of a player.
he was a 40th overall pick, though.
Yeah, he wasn't much of a player. He was a project who developed his game.
Right.
And think how much better they would be developing their game with, Mike Krzyzewski as their coach instead of
Right, but then you have
Buffalo Lewis, whoever
right,
the hell those
and then
coaching
on the
overtime elite.
and then on the other side you have examples like Victor Wembanyama, who it didn't matter if you didn't see him play a single game, you just looked at the guy and said, yeah, that's number 1 pick.
Yeah, but wouldn't he, if he could get paid? I mean, look what happened to Baba Miller at FSU. The dude spent $3,000 to come over here and play in an All-Star game.
Right, but keep in mind
paid,
too.
and then he gets 16 games.
Keep in mind too, and to a point, I understand this. A lot of these guys, if they know they're only going for 1 year anyway to college,
right?
You think they really want to have to be okay? That's a full year of them having to go through classes and do all this stuff.
I don't want to do that.
Nobody
shit.
wants to do that anymore.
And nor should they be doing it.
Yeah.
They're taking up a spot in the class. Well, then why should they have any representation to the university?
Right,
I get that.
Like
but
I say,
that's the system. That's the system we have.
I use this example. I've said it on this show before, and I'll say it again. I was in a class at UCF with multiple football players. First day of class. Everybody go around the room, introduce yourself, what's your major? And one of the players, whose name I will not say, he was a prominent player on that UCF team, said, hold up, let me text my advisor. Didn't know what his major was. It doesn't cross their mind.
They're not here for school.
They're not there for school.
No,
which is why the
90%
whole
of 'em.
which is why
It's
the
a
whole
joke.
argument when everybody's against paying players and it was all about, well, they're getting a scholarship and doesn't that mean something? It really doesn't to these guys.
No, because I got a degree from Florida State. Oh, good
Yeah,
for you.
and some guys
I'm sure that the corporations are lining up
Yes,
to hand
and-
you a $100,000 a year
And for
job.
some guys,
No.
and listen,
No.
the beauty about it is everybody can make their own choice because there are some guys who it does mean something to them.
Go to co-op. You
and
have the opportunity.
Like, just look at, like, I just saw this a couple weeks ago, Sauce Gardner, he continued, even when he's in the NFL, he continued to do classes.
Good for
And he
him.
just got his degree.
Good for
Because
him.
that was a big thing to him and to get it for his family and all that. Like, that's the beauty of it. You can make that decision if you want, but you don't have to force everybody to do that route.
And the reality of it is, even when these guys are, quote, going to class, it's a fraud. My son did lots of homework for football players and took tests for football players.
Right.
Shouldn't say that on the air, but yeah, it happens.
Right, and also,
It
too,
happens.
let's just be honest. Some of these people,
During COVID,
some of these college athletes, they do become kind of bigger than everything they're around.
Yeah.
Their brand does, especially with NIL. And, like, you heard the story about Livy Dunn. She's not even going back to classes because it's, like, unsafe for her.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because she has become a celebrity.
Right.
And for her to just sit in class with a bunch of random people is not the best thing probably for her. And I'm sure that's the same for everybody else.
Little Joey from Pahokee wants to sit behind her.
Yeah, right. And then it becomes a
In mass
distraction to
media.
everybody else in class.
Exactly. She walks in that tight spandex. Yeah, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. And, the teacher's probably not going to get a whole lot of attention. I just don't think so. So look, all of this has to catch up with the times. High school athletes are marketable. High school athletes bring eyeballs. High school athletes can make money for their programs. Why shouldn't they be able to make money for themselves with their name, image, and likeness? Of course they should. And, state of Florida lawmakers, get off your ass, change the NIL law for high schools, and make sure that the NIL laws for colleges are giving Florida State and Florida and all of our colleges the best chance to win, and not handicapping them like they've been handicapped the past couple of years. This is not hard this is bipartisan stuff. Who's against it, for God's sakes? Seriously, why is this stuff not already done? It's ridiculous. I don't know how, and no one's against it, not that I know of. It's ridiculous. Get off your ass and get it done. My God, unless I guess maybe there's the only people I could think would be against it are some academics within the schools.
Pish posh.
Those people.
Are they against? Are they for anything athletic related?
No, they never have been. And you never seen
like
the culture of academics versus athletes in high schools.
Just in, nobody gives a rip, and this is to the USF advisor people that were so pissed off about the stadium. Nobody cares about your math building being 5 years too old or whatever. Nobody gives a damn.
Your drinking fountain.
Nobody cares.
And the loge is not working. At the
Good God, I don't care that your carpet's been there.
The teachers' lounge is not.
I don't care that your carpet's been
Call
there since 1995. I've never been cleaned. I don't care. Nobody cares. I care about the shiny new stadium. That's going to help put more money in your pocket, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, you want to get your water fountain fixed? Support athletics. Bring in more money. You'll get your water fountain fixed. That's how it works. Hate to tell you. All right, we'll take another break. Our final break. We'll come back on the other side.
I'm going to come back to you with a question, by the way.
What's that?
Because there's a certain player, a veteran in the NFL, who is all of a sudden put himself on the open market.
Ooh.
Who could be a potential fit for the Buccaneers, and I'm going to get your take on it when we come back.
Joel Clapp is
he's ripping your nose.
Busting my nose. Okay, Joel Clapp, I got something for you.
I love Joel Clapp, but I don't like this take.
I'll give you the clap. All right, quick break. We're brought to you by the great folks at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. It's preventative medicine, so you don't get the clap. Get your immune system built up. That's how this works, right? Yes. BAMMC.com. Get an appointment there to go see Chris Lugo. My primary care physician should be yours as well. They'll spend all the time in the world to get you a personalized plan to get your immunity system up and get your weight down, testosterone if you need it. It's all there for you. BAMMC.com. Back in 3. Sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you looking to lose weight or just lean up for bathing suit season where there are so many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there? You don't know where to start, right? We'll start at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and will help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently. Many of these other approaches are designed for the masses. So how's that going to work for you specifically? It's not. Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you so the weight comes off safely without the use of harmful drugs and side effects. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, we're back. Thanks to the great folks at Extravaganza Productions. If you have a event coming up, big or small, let them take care of it all. They do it. Audio, visual, creative. They've got a warehouse full of all kinds of props from every big party you've ever been to that you can use. Get a big football that they used at the Outback Bowl. Stuff like that. Really cool. So if you have a big birthday coming up, why not let the professionals set it all up for you? That's Extravaganza Productions, just what they do. Extravagant Productions. Go to the website or Google them and tell them JP sent you. They'll give you a free creative session to figure out what you're going to do with that big event. Or a small event. They could do that too. All right, time for a couple other fun stories. You teased one. There's a veteran lineman that wants to come back and play in the NFL.
Right, and it's, according to Adam Schefter, Jason Peters, who I'm sure everybody's familiar with, one of the better tackles in the game over the past now 2 decades, wants to return for his 20th season in the NFL.
Won a Super Bowl with the Eagles, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
He's 41 years old now. But my goodness, he still plays at a good level of play, in my opinion. And I went back to follow that up. According to Pro Football Focus, he graded out higher than anybody else on the Bucs O-line, not named Tristan Wirfs last year.
Wow.
Gave up 0 penalties and allowed just 1 sack.
Holy
playing
shit.
in about 250 snaps or so last year for Dallas.
He can play right tackle.
Yeah, he can play right tackle, left tackle. He can fill in at guard. Very versatile. And I like the fit because there's so much uncertainty with Luke Gedeke and thinking about, how much of a short leash are you going to have on him when the season begins. But you look at what's behind him, and it's, there's nothing there flattering, whether it's Justin School or Brandon Walton. And this guy now has made himself available, could come at a really cheap cost, obviously. Not saying he has to start in front of Gedeke day one, but just to have in the building. And even just think of everything that he's learned in 20 years of playing this game, would only be a benefit to Luke Gedeke and some of these younger
Absolutely.
O-linemen. So
Yes.
we talked about Jarvis Landry. Would that be a potential fit? I like this a lot better
Yeah.
because I think the season's going to hinge on what that offensive line does.
Mhm.
So
I agree.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of suitors for Jason Peters, I have to think, because veteran O-linemen that can still give you something I think are an invaluable commodity.
I think the Jets would be very interested.
The Jets have to be one of those teams. And,
Yeah.
and let's be honest. If the Jets come calling, do you want to go to the Jets or do you want to go to the Bucs? I get it.
Block for Aaron Rodgers or Baker Mayfield.
Right, but in the
Eventually
event that maybe there's not as many suitors and the Bucs wanted to get involved potentially, I don't hate it.
No, I don't hate it either. I would definitely jump on board with that. But that goes to what is the philosophy of this season? All right, this is all about developing players like Luke Gedeke. And of course, you give him every chance to win the job.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Jason Peters has to play in front of Luke Gedeke.
Right.
I would just like to have another veteran in the building that could help Luke Gedeke succeed.
And it might even be because he can play left tackle too. If Tristan just is frustrated with the whole deal, moving back to right, you're certainly not putting Luke Gedeke at left
I don't
tackle.
see what's. If you're Todd Bowles too, actually, and this goes to the side of him, if you want to win games. I think Jason Peters might be able to help you out more than Luke Gedeke could from that standpoint.
I would agree with that.
So
I would agree with
I don't
that
know.
wholeheartedly.
Let's keep our eyes on that one.
Joel Klapp, Fox Sports college football analyst, lead analyst, not impressed with my Florida State Seminoles, so you're telling me.
Well,
Screw you, Joel Klapp.
let me say this. He still thinks they're a top 10 team. He has them ranked number 10, I believe, in his preseason rankings.
Okay.
But he's not buying the hype of them being a contender from the national standpoint or really the ACC. And the quote that he had on his podcast here.
Not an ACC contender?
Yeah. And he doesn't think that they still match up well with LSU or Clemson, and he believes definitively they're going to be 2-2 after those first 4 games. And he brings up points about, their 6-game win streak, and they beat teams that were Georgia Tech, Miami, Syracuse, Louisiana Lafayette, Florida, and then the worst Oklahoma team in a long, long time.
Right.
Which I've said is a valid point, but I still think when you watch some of those, at least to the LSU game, he doesn't think FSU has a chance against LSU. And I just feel like last year, and I know it was LSU's first game, the scoreline I don't think was indicative of what that game was.
Well,
I thought FSU
FSU's
was
first game too, by the way.
Right, and I think I think Florida State was clearly better than LSU on the field that day.
They dominated both
and
lines of scrimmage.
who's to say that FSU's not going to be way better than what they were last year because they have more talent this year than they did last year.
Keon Coleman coming from Michigan State, the best top 3 receiver in the Big Ten, pairing up with Johnny Wilson and 4 other dynamic pass catchers.
Right.
2 great tight ends.
Yeah, and then
now
they got
an
4
experienced quarterback.
They brought in 4 of the top 10 transfer portal players, and 3 of them coming on the defensive side of the ball where they really need help.
Lineman Fisk, and I really think Darryl Jackson's going to get eligible. There's too much public pressure on the NCAA.
Yeah, I would
to
hope
make that happen. And when he comes back, they've got one of the best defensive lines. They already have one without him.
Yeah, the number 1 transfer they brought in was actually Cypress in the secondary from Virginia.
Really, really good player. And this kid Fisk up front has been absolutely dominating people in practice. So they've got a 2 deep offensive line. Guys that were starters before can't even start now because they're too deep on the offensive line. Skill position players, I'll put them up against Trey Benson, Teofili. They've got more than 2 more young running backs that are just as good. Defense coordinators escaping me now.
Adam Fuller.
Yeah, Adam Fuller is not the best in the world, but gosh, the talent there is just ridiculous. So and they have LSU, like a team that they handled last year, and I think FSU is way better than they were last year. So I think he's missing out on a little bit of how FSU has improved, and LSU improved over the year. I was just watching their replay of their game with Ole Miss, and their quarterback is just phenomenal.
I do like Jaden Daniels. Played a lot of football too.
He's really, really good. I think he's going to be a star.
I think a lot of that's coming though is that I think Klatt and a lot of others viewed that LSU's a better team than Alabama this year, and I know LSU got them last year, but man, there's just something again about doubting an Alabama team that I just can't get on. I love LSU as a team, don't get me wrong. But just to, say that Florida State's just definitively not going to win that game, I just disagree that they don't have a shot.
Don't have a shot. That's just dumb. That's just dumb. Sorry, Joel, but that's dumb. Not have a shot? Good. That's good, though, man. That's exactly what FSU needs. They need that because everybody's been kissing their ass all off season. Everybody's like me. Everybody's kissing their ass. They need some doubters. And do you think Mike Norvell's not going to put that on the loop in the freaking weight room? Are you kidding me? Of course he is. So thank you, Joel Klatt. I really appreciate that. That's exactly what we needed. So thank you. Awesome. What else have we not touched on today that we need to get to? By the way, we haven't talked about Ryan Jensen. Ryan Jensen held out the entire week. He's supposed to be back on Monday. And I would think that this has probably been their plan from the very beginning. He doesn't need training camp. He doesn't need the first 3 weeks of training camp to get ready. We're just going to let him, let that knee rest, get as much healing as possible, and then we go for it. Starting this week, he, plays in the third preseason game if he can, and they need to see whether he can go and whether he can go through a whole week. And if it swells up and it doesn't work, you got to go get surgery. You got to go get surgery and hopefully be ready for next year.
Yeah, not counting on Ryan Jensen right now.
No.
Hard to get there.
But I think that they have to make a decision. And again, I think, it's going to be up to Ryan whether he wants to go through the rehab. But I would think, given his situation and the choices that he's made that did not work out, if it goes this way, we still don't know. I think he would feel some obligation to the Buccaneers organization to try and make a comeback next year after surgery. Because if he has surgery and does the normal rehab, he could play another 2 or 3 more years at a pretty good level.
Right.
So I don't think his career is over by any stretch of the imagination. But it's up to him whether he wants to go through it. He's made a lot of money. It wouldn't be stupid with his young children to hang it up. I'm sure he and Ali Marpet have had a lot of conversations about that. So it's just going to be kind of up to him. He's won a Super Bowl. There's not much less for him to prove. You play with Tom Brady. It's, you got a pretty good scrapbook.
Right.
But we'll see. Certainly it's going to make a huge difference if he can play this year.
Absolutely. Well, we're almost to the end of the show, so maybe it's time that I make my my announcement.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if you were going to hang out next week, but if this is it, then this is it.
I'll make my announcement here.
You go right ahead. The floor is yours, my
So,
friend.
to all the listeners out there, this is my last show here on the JP Peterson Show. And so I just wanted to give a thank you, number one, to all the listeners over the last 2.5 years that I've been on with. Whether we agreed, disagreed, I've enjoyed being able to come on here every day and give my opinions on Tampa Bay sports, which is all I've ever wanted to do, quite frankly, since I was a kid. So I'm very appreciative of that. And so I'm going to absolutely miss that. But I thank you all for allowing me to give my opinions. Again, whether you agreed, disagreed, I've enjoyed interacting with you on the show, on social media, all those things. So just thank you. And then obviously a huge thank you to you, because I couldn't have done this without, you giving me a chance coming out of college. And
You earned it.
I feel very, very grateful.
You earned it.
Well, I still feel very grateful and blessed for the opportunities I've had from the show. And I'm going to miss it. I'm absolutely going to miss it.
Well, we're going to miss you, and I think you should explain to the folks why you're leaving, because I think it's a very noble reason why you're leaving.
Yeah, as many know on the show, I write full-time for On3 in addition to doing this show and some other projects as well. And it's a bit of an overload, and it's been the same kind of cycle that I've been doing since I got out of college. And with me just getting married, the new house and everything, I got to get priorities in order, for sure. So, again, like I said, I'm sad to have to leave, but I have to do it.
You're not leaving.
I have to do it for my own thing.
You're leaving the daily grind. I hope you will stick around.
Yes, anytime.
You're going to be our UCF correspondent?
Yeah, I was going to say,
I'll
I'll still be your UCF guy. I'm going to be very plugged in with them this year.
Well, then
you're
hired.
Anytime you want to have me on just to shoot the shit about the Bucs, the Rays, anytime. I'll come on, make guest appearances, but as for being a producer of the show, I'm definitely stepping aside there.
For you, he's waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, driving over here from Lithia to St. Petersburg, and then doing the show, prepping the show, going back to there, maybe have an hour off before his shift starts at on 3, and going from 3 to midnight. I mean, it's like, he's a hell of a worker. He's incredible work ethic. I mean, you've become a great broadcaster. I mean, really good. You're really good at what you do. You're going to be a player in this market for a long, long time. So it's not goodbye. It's not. This is just going on to bigger and better things, which is what I always want for all of my people that work for me or with me. That's what I want. And I knew from the last few months that we knew from the beginning you were biting off a lot. It was a lot. And so it comes to the point, man, where I want you to, you're newly married. I didn't want Casey to be mad at me for the rest of her life. And this is great for you. And you're going to be very much a part of this program, I hope. And I think you'll be popping up some other places as well. So I'm glad you got your start here. You earned it. You've done a hell of a job. I love you like a son. And I know you're going to do a fantastic job. But this is definitely the best thing for you and your family right now. And for you to recognize that is very noble and a smart decision, by the way. Very smart decision, too.
Yeah.
You want to stay married.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, I appreciate everything. And then, obviously, I'm excited to hand things over here to Peter.
Yes, Peter Blake.
Peter Blake.
Peter Blake, and many of you know him for many, many years. There he is. Peter will be taking over your chair, and it'll be seamless. Peter's been in this market forever and knows the sports inside and out. And I think we're going to have fun, and Nick will still be part of it. So, not goodbye. So long for now. We'll see you. We'll be abusing your time every week on the UCF report. You're hired. All right. Thank you guys for joining us each and every day. We thank you. Don't forget to subscribe, Apple and Spotify, the podcast. Also, we'll be migrating over to DSP Podcast Network, FanStream Sports DSP Network on YouTube. So go subscribe there, FanStream Sports DSP, and that's where the show will be on YouTube. We'll keep it here for a couple more weeks, but go make sure you subscribe over there, and we'll be doing that as well. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Go Bucs. Go Rays. We'll see you on Monday.